Welcome to the deep dive. The deep ocean, it's still such a huge mystery, isn't it? Earth's biggest unexplored area, really, hiding who knows what kind of life. Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're doing a deep dive, looking at some recent science papers, expedition notes, some amazing photos, too, all showing these, well, frankly, bizarre new deep-sea creatures found between 2020 and 2025.
Absolutely. And our goal here basically is to pull out the really key bits of information, the surprising stuff about these finds. We want to look at how they live, how they were found, and importantly, why this stuff actually matters to you. Think of it as your quick guide to the planet's hidden life.
Love that. A quick guide. Okay, we have to start with this record breaker. Can you imagine finding what might be the longest animal ever? This is back in April 2020 off Western Australia. Scientists spotted this thing called the giant Apolemia siphonophore.
Right, the Siphonophore. And it's not really one animal, is it?
Exactly. It's colonial, like thousands of tiny individual animals, they call them zooids, all linked up, specialized little parts working together. It forms this long, stringy, coiled shape. They estimated this one at 45 meters. That's like 150 feet. But potentially, if you stretched it out, maybe 120 meters, that would make it the longest animal known.
Just incredible length.
They said it looked like a beautiful UFO, sort of spiraling, and it acts like a drifting wall of death for anything unlucky enough to swim into it.
A drifting predator, yeah.
And the discovery. Pure chance. An ROV, a remotely operated vehicle, spotted it while coming back up from a dive.
That's often how it happens down there, isn't it? Serendipity. But what gets me is how something so, well, delicate looking, almost see-through, can be such an effective predator. It kind of flips the idea of a single large predator on its head. Here you have this massive hunter made of tiny cooperating parts, a superorganism.
A superorganism. Wow.
It's a really clever evolutionary trick, especially where food is scarce. Lots of small parts doing what one big body maybe couldn't.
That makes sense. Delicate, but deadly. Okay, speaking of amazing forms, let's talk about creatures that look, well, straight out of science fiction, alien-looking things, like the E.T. sponge. Its actual name is Advhena magnifica. It was formally described in 2020, found in the Central Pacific.
Ah, yes, the E.T. sponge. It really does look like something else.
It's so strange. It has this, bulbous head part with two big openings that look just like eyes. They're actually oscula, the main water outflow pores.
Right.
And this head is perched on top of this super skinny stalk, about a meter tall. You really do half expect it to phone home.
Oh, yeah, you do.
They found it in an area the scientists actually nicknamed the Forest of the Weird, which seems about right.
Aptly named.
And apparently when the ROV lights hit it, it gives off this kind of eerie golden white glow.
It's a filter feeder, of course. And that whole structure, the tall stalk, the head, it's all about catching food particles drifting in the deep sea currents. So that bizarre look, it's actually very functional. It's sort of engineered perfectly for its environment. Shows how creative nature can be under pressure.
Form meets function, even when it looks like E.T.
Okay, so the creatures are amazing, but how we're finding and studying them is changing too, right? Technology is playing a huge part, like the Emperor Dumbo Octopus, Grimputathis imperator, described in 2021, found super deep, over 4,000 meters down.
The Dumbo Octopus, yeah. Adorable name, amazing creature. But the study method is the big story there.
Exactly. They only had one specimen, so instead of dissecting it, they used high-resolution MRI and CT scans.
Non-invasive.
They basically created a digital avatar of the octopus. They got all the anatomical detail without ever cutting into it. Which is huge, right? It tackles that big question. How do you study these incredibly rare, fragile, deep-sea animals without damaging or destroying the only one you might ever find? This non-invasive approach gives incredible detail and keeps the specimen intact for maybe other types of future study. It sets a real precedent.
A digital avatar.
Yeah.
That's a game changer. Imagine scientists anywhere could potentially study these virtual models.
Exactly. It could democratize access to these really unique finds.
Okay, one last discovery, and this one. Well, it carries a pretty stark message about us, about human impact. It's called Eurythenes plasticus, an amphipod, a type of small crustacean.
Plasticus, yeah.
Found in 2020, deep in the Mariana Trench. We're talking nearly 7 kilometers down. It's tiny, only about 5 centimeters long. A scavenger.
And the name tells the story, doesn't it?
It really does. Shockingly direct. They named it plasticus because they found PET, plastic fiber, the stuff in water bottles, inside its gut.
Think about that. One of the deepest, most remote places on Earth. And we find evidence of our plastic waste inside a newly discovered animal. This tiny creature becomes this ambassador almost for just how widespread ocean pollution is. Even the abyss isn't safe.
It's really sobering. Our actions on land, our plastic bottles reaching literal kilometers down into the ocean, makes you stop and think. So putting it all together, what have we seen? Record-breaking giants made of tiny parts, creatures that look like aliens, new ways to study them without harm, and, yeah, a stark warning about our own impact.
It just underscores how much we don't know. The deep ocean is, what, over 90% of Earth's livable space?
Yeah.
And we've barely scratched the surface.
Absolutely. So imagine what else is down there, what other wonders, or maybe what other warnings are still lurking in the depths, just waiting. What do you think the next deep dive will find?